Good afternoon, everyone. Just about. It's 12:01 in the PM for me. It's telling me I've got a low internet connection. It always does this when I go live. Oh, it's got 2 bars now. Okay. All right. Before we get into the content of today's live stream, let's just remind ourselves of one thing, shall we? Let's do that.
For you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."
Yeah. I think we can all see what's going on. All right. For those completely in the dark about what's going on, there's been more court filings in the Delphi case. So we're going to read through. I saw this last night, my time, and I contemplated going live then, but I was too mad. I was absolutely furious. So I thought I'll probably get banned from YouTube or something because I was so mad. I can't describe how mad I was. I can't describe how mad I was. So I know that a number of different channels have gone live with this already. I haven't seen any of them. I just chose not to watch any of them because I was just really mad. So I've got some catching up to do. So I don't know what anyone else has said. I'm just going to read the documents and tell you what I think. And fair warning, if I swear, there might be a bit of cussing in this live stream. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. I'll try not to. I know some people don't like it. And if you've got little ears in the room, you know, I know how it works. So I'll try, but I can't promise. I can't promise at all. And I know this is a bad time for most people who watch my channel, but I've got stuff to do this afternoon. So there's that. Let's see who's in the house. Give people a chance to come in. Who's going to come in is going to come in, aren't they? Hi, Jackie. Hi, Mandy. Just watched. Is that Defence Diaries that you're talking about? Yeah, Defence Diaries are good. I'm going to watch that this afternoon. I'm also going to watch Criminality. I noticed Criminality had done this as well. Hello, Crafty, Robert, Tracy, E. Moore from Georgia, USA. Your local grandmummy. Oh, granddaughter's cross-country run. Oh, rather her than me. I used to hate cross-country running. I used to walk it. It was a nice walk, ruined by people expecting you to run. Good morning, Mike. 11:45 here. Well, it was 11:45 here as well, like 20 minutes ago. ASMR Tingle Pink, Catching Alive. Good stuff. Hello, Dawn, Purple AJ, Sandra. Robert, I've said hello to you. Lynn, Stella, Kate. We're all mad here. We are. We're all mad here. CW, no, I don't think this circus will ever end. I don't think they want it to end. Well, actually, I do. I think they want it to end. I don't think they want it to end in a trial, though. I think they want it to end in Richard Allen being dead. And then their job will be complete. Angie, baby. Hello, Josie. Cat lover. Mom, me, Maddie. Karen. Krista. Petunia. Jill. McKenna. and a bunch of others. All right. It is absolutely frustrating. Totally frustrating. So bad. So bad. All right. I'm going to go full screen with this. So I don't need my camera on. All right. I'll also take the banner off. Maybe. So we get full screen. All right. Okay, so there's actually two documents, but about the same thing. So there's this one, which is kind of the main one. A motion to transfer Richard Allen from his current housing, which, if you remember, just a little bit of a recap, he was in Westville. His rightful attorneys, Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie, wanted him to be moved to a county jail, which is more appropriate for somebody who is pre-trial, innocent till proven guilty. If they've no bond or they can't get bond, then they're held in a county jail whilst they're awaiting trial. But not Richard Allen. No, not Richard Allen, because he was remanded in the Westville Department of Corrections by Judge Diener, the previous judge, who then promptly recused himself, like the same day. So there was never any discussion about it or anything until April 2023. So it rumbled on for a few months. There was a hearing in June 2023, I want to say. I can't remember the exact date. And essentially, Judge Francis Gold said that the defense were lying about the treatment of Richard Allen in Westville. So you're remembering all this, you've been following the case, especially recently, because the lies that Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie told about Richard Allen's treatment in Westville was one of the reasons why Judge Francis Gold deemed them to be grossly negligent about Richard's case. Anyhow, about less than a month ago, the time escapes me, but Richard was moved from Westville to Wabash, which is the other direction from Westville, but even further away from his attorneys. Well, actually, probably slightly closer for Andrew Baldwin, but of course, we all know that Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie were terminated. They were disqualified. And it doesn't escape me. This timing is very interesting. The timing of this being released less than a week before the Supreme Court hears the case. I think that's interesting. Don't know what to make of it, but just putting it out there that it's very interesting, this timing. So, what is this new stuff? Well, this is a motion to transfer Richard Allen away from Wabash and guess what? Into a county jail. And the treatment that he's receiving at Wabash is as bad, if not worse, than it was at Westville. And it isn't Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie saying this. Oh, no. This is his new attorneys. This is Francis Gould's people who were saying this. Certainly Libretto is Francis's boy. They're friends on Facebook. She thinks he's got lovely children. Scremin, I think he's a little bit more distant, but, the Allen County public defenders, and they know Francis. She's appointed them. They're handpicked. It's them saying this. So just get that in your head, right? When I start reading, if you've not read this, if you've not seen anyone else read it, just get this in your head that it is Gull's hand-picked attorneys who are saying all of these things. So there's the motion to transfer, and then there's an affidavit from one of Robert Scremming's investigators who's done a separate affidavit. So we'll read that, which is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I've no doubt that, about the truthfulness of this. So this is now 5 people who have said that Richard Allen is being mistreated. Count them. We've got Brad Rosie, Andrew Baldwin, Robert Scremming, William Labrato, and then the investigator working for Scremming. 5 people who have been willing to put their names down on paper in official court documents saying this is not right. So that's the backstory. We're going to read. Okay. Motion to transfer. This was posted yesterday. Defendant, by and through his attorneys, Robert C. Scremming and William Labrato, hereby submits this motion to transfer and states as follows. Richard Allen is currently being held in pre-trial detention at the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, a maximum security state prison. After visiting with Richard Allen at both the Westville Correctional Facility and the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, it is counsel's belief that 1, Mr. Allen is not being treated similar to other pre-trial detainees being held in county jails, and 2, pre-trial incarceration at Wabash Valley Correctional Facility will seriously, if not fatally, impact counsel's ability to effectively represent Mr. Allen due to the distance of travel and visitation conditions. Now, I like this word in here. Will seriously, if not fatally. And it's not been lost on me, the use of the word fatally. Now, of course, the context of this is saying it's going to fatally, as in, 100% totally impact counsel's ability to effectively represent Richard due to the distance of travel and the visitation conditions. However, they could have used totally, absolutely. No, they've chosen fatally because they've probably looked at the situation that Richard Allen's in and realised that he may not survive this. He may not survive this. I think the use of the word fatally is, interesting. Facts. On November 3rd, 2022, the state of Indiana filed a motion on behalf of the sheriff of Carroll County asking the court to transfer Richard Allen to the custody of Department of Corrections, so this would be his transfer to Westville, claiming that due to this being a high-profile case, the Carroll County sheriff could not adequately provide Mr. Allen with necessary security or other needs at the Carroll County Jail. Judge Diener, without holding an evidentiary hearing on the merits, granted the state's motion, so the state wanted him transferred. The state said, this is Slick Nick, it's so high profile, they just can't keep him safe in a county jail. He needs to go to a state prison. So this was Slick Nick's idea. Okay, right. Okay. Keep that in your mind. Slick Nick's idea to transfer him to Westville back in November 2022. No hearing, it was just done like that. Then he recused himself from the case that same day. So his last point in his office as judge, Dina transferred Alan with no evidentiary hearing, with no possibility that anybody could, weigh up the merits or discuss the possibility that, well, maybe Carroll County Jail isn't secure enough, maybe it's too small, maybe they don't have the staff or the expertise to be able to deal with such a high profile defendant. But what about other county jails in the region? Could any of them? No, they didn't go with that. They didn't discuss the possibilities of where Richard could be housed within the county jail system. No, they just transferred him to the Department of Corrections with absolutely no discussion. And then the judge just recused himself because he was scared, right? Judge Dina was scared of the whole thing. All right. Mr. Allen had no opportunity to object to this transfer, and no one appeared to consider how this might negatively impact Mr. Allen's defence. Well, no, they didn't at the time, but they've been told since at length several times. But no, because his rightful defence, Brad Rosey and Andrew Baldwin, continually stuck their necks on the line to defend Richard Allen, saying, listen, he's not being treated right. There's so much wrong with Westville. He's not being treated right. Several times, numerous paperworks were submitted. But no, that was one of the reasons why Francis deemed them grossly negligent, because of that very thing. But now her boys are agreeing with their defence, with the rightful defence. On April the 5th, 2023, Mr. Allen's former counsel, rightful counsel, filed an emergency motion to modify safekeeping order, essentially a motion to transfer Mr. Allen to a county jail. I have reviewed counsel's motion. So this is Labrato and Scremin speaking, who have reviewed that motion. The motion, one of which Francis said was a lie. Okay. And although I lack personal knowledge to vouch for all allegations made, as Mr. Allen's present counsel, I believe it to be a meritorious motion. So the facts of it are true. There's merit in that motion. Based upon 25 years of practicing law, I agree. So I agree with the rightful counsel that Mr. Allen is not being treated similar to other pre-trial detainees in county jails, and that his pre-trial incarceration at a distant state prison severely impacts counsel's ability to effectively communicate with Mr. Allen and effectively represent him. I would incorporate the legal arguments made by prior counsel. So the arguments made by Baldwin and Rosey back in April 2023, the current counsel are now agreeing with. The current counsel are saying we want to use those arguments. Those arguments were right. And add that Mr. Allen's distance from present counsel and the conditions during visitation negatively impact counsel's ability to effectively represent Mr. Allen. How on earth is there going to be a fair trial in this case? Okay, so that was April 5th. So current counsel are agreeing with the rightful counsel on what they said on we're all mad here. Sky, stop. I don't know what. I don't know what you're talking about, Sky, but this isn't a stream about Summer Wells. So you're in the wrong stream, Sky Blue. Just letting you know. So let's stick to the topic at hand. All right. Okay, so the arguments made on April 5th by the rightful council are now being agreed upon by the new council. On April 14th, 2023, this court denied prior council's motion and Mr. Allen remains in the custody of the Department of Corrections. So, Westville. On April 28th, 2023, this court received a letter written by an inmate at Westville Correctional Facility alleging that Mr. Allen was being abused and mistreated. Now, that was Robert Baston, who has been writing more letters, but submitted a new letter very recently, talked about it in a video. And Francis Gold just struck it from the record, saying this is nothing to do with this case. But fair dues to Francis, it was no longer anything to do with Richard's case because Richard wasn't at Westville anymore. All right. So there's that. All right. September 18th, 2023, prior council filed a motion for a Franks hearing, which Francis didn't bother reading, in support of their previously filed motion to suppress. Prior council included a 136-page memorandum with 126 confidential exhibits. The memorandum and exhibits, among other things, alleged prison guards at Westville Correctional Facility were allowed to wear patches on their official uniforms supporting Odinism, and that crime scene photos suggested a potential connection to Odinism, a Nordic religion and or cult that has been associated both in the prison system and in society in general with white supremacy. Now, let's just be very clear. That the religion of Old Norse is a fascinating religion, predates Christianity, was practiced in Northern Europe throughout the period that Christianity was trying to get a foothold in Europe, and eventually kind of was overtaken by Christianity. But it's a fascinating religion. And in modern times, there are still people who have took the basic principles of the Old Norse religion and have kind of modernized it, I guess you would say. And it's just one of the many pagan religions that some people worship, some people celebrate. There's nothing in Old Norse or the modern interpretations of the Old Norse religion that indicate that anybody needs to be racist or supremacist towards anyone. All right. It's not the religion that's the problem. It's that a small section of society in Europe, but seems to be making headway in certain parts of the United States at the moment, who are taking some of the basic principles of Old Norse and they've bastardized it so much so that they can now twist it into some kind of white supremacist cult, but they're dressing it up as a religion. So they're just a bunch of racists who feel that they've now got some protection because they're calling their beliefs a religion. Okay. All right. So there's that. After reviewing crime scene photos and visiting Mr. Allen at Westville Correctional Facility, present counsel believes these claims have merit and that pretrial incarceration within the state prison system negatively impacts Mr. Allen's rights, in addition to counsel's ability to effectively represent him. So they're saying that the information within the 136-page memorandum that Francis didn't even bother reading, they're saying that the Ordinist theory that Richard's innocent and it was a bunch of Ordinists that actually murdered Abby and Libby has merit. Because you got to remember that however much, people who believe that Richard's guilty and, full stop, have said that Baldwin and Rosie have just made all this stuff up and just haven't bothered researching anything at all. And there's a lot of creators out there who haven't bothered giving this any consideration whatsoever. You've all got to remember that it wasn't Baldwin and Rosie that made this stuff up. This was stuff that was in the discovery that law enforcement had investigated. That was part of the discovery. So you need to go back. If you don't believe me, go back and listen to the multitude of live streams and videos that I made on this topic. All my views are out there. All the evidence is out there in my Delphi Murders playlist. So start from September and work forward. Okay. All right, so from October 27th, 2023, this court appointed attorneys Robert C. Scremin and William Labrato to represent Richard Allen. Attorneys Scremin and Labrato both reside and maintain primary offices in Fort Wayne, Allen County, Indiana. Fort Wayne is approximately 106 miles from Westville and a 2-hour drive. Okay, so, it's a fair drive. 2 hours there, 2 hours back. It's a full day's worth of a job, isn't it? Because, you go, you have your meeting. However, Fort Wayne is approximately 233 miles, so it's over double the distance from Wabash Correctional Facility and approximately a 3.5-hour drive without stops. Counsel's most recent visit to Mr. Allen at Wabash Valley Correctional Facility was a 10-hour day. So before you get the world's smallest violin out and say, oh dear, they've got a long way to go. Oh dear, they're just griping because they've got a long way to go and it's a long day for them. Well, keep reading. Because, if you feel that the attorneys are only doing it because they don't want to drive that far and have a 10-hour day, well, yeah, that's one issue for them. But let's keep reading. On November 19th, 2023, counsel visited with Mr. Allen at Westville. The visit was an arduous process, which included lengthy travel, complicated and protracted prison security procedures, and difficult visitation conditions. It does sound like a lot here need to study up on Ordinism. Yeah. Start in September and work your way forward. I've got all the information that you will need in my Delphi Murders playlist, including my opinions. Recently, people have been asking me what I think about the Ordinist theory. It's like, well, I've been talking about it since September. It's all there. I mean, it's repetitive, but anyhow. Okay. Throughout our legal consultation, Mr. Allen remained uncomfortably and unnecessarily shackled and chained in a manner resembling Hannibal Lecter. I think you spelt Hannibal wrong. I'm not sure. So, shackled and chained in a manner resembling Hannibal Lecter. So this guy is in a maximum security prison. Right, he's 5'4", probably weighs no more than, I don't know, 140 pounds. What's he gonna do? What is he gonna do? Why does he need to be shackled and chained to meet his attorneys? Oh, dear God. Okay. Now this bit is just, it's just beyond belief. Guards watched through glass panels and the door was ajar. So the guards were told that they could not video Richard Allen's meetings with his attorneys. So instead of videoing it, they're now listening at the door. They're now listening. So how do we know they don't have recording devices on their person? Inhumane doesn't cover it, does it? To keep the public on side. Yeah, I don't think this is keeping the public on side. I think this is keeping the public very aware of what's really going on here. If you care to, wash the scales from your eyes and look at this situation from the lens of the Constitution, and that everybody has the right to a fair trial and everybody has a right to representation and to take part in their own defense, at what point do you believe that Richard Allen is going to get a fair trial? At what point do you believe that Richard Allen is in a state to be able to participate in his own defense? It's unbelievable how wrong this is. It doesn't matter. We're not talking about whether Richard Allen murdered Abby and Libby. I've said this time and time and time again. If he is guilty, like factually guilty, they need to get him to trial and they need to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, convict him, and then, in my opinion, they can do what they want with him. They can throw the key away, and I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But while he is pre-trial, he is innocent. He is innocent, whether he's factually guilty or not. Legally, he is innocent, and he needs to be afforded every right that the Constitution gives to pre-trial detainees. He has a right to a fair trial. He has a right to representation, and he's got representation, but he's got to be allowed to be able to participate in his own defense. At the moment, he cannot. Exactly, Cammy. He's innocent. Whether or not he's factually guilty is irrelevant at this moment in time. Legally, he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And if the prosecution cannot prove it to a jury of Richard Allen's peers beyond a reasonable doubt, whether or not he is factually guilty or not, he should be acquitted. If they cannot prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, the law states he is acquittable. Everything screams to me they do not want him to get to trial. And then the question is, why? The question is, Why? Okay. So they've stopped videotaping, but now they're listening through an open door. Okay. All right. Mr. Allen clearly appeared intimidated by the guards and was hesitant to speak freely with counsel. So, see Exhibit 1, affidavit, Investigator S. Moller. So we'll read that shortly. Although none of the prison guards were wearing patches in support of Odinism, one of the guards did have a symbolic face tattoo. So they were told to take their patches off, their state-issued uniforms. So what does one of them go and do? Get a face tattoo. Yes, tattooed his actual face with Odin's spear. And he also has multiple hand and finger tattoos. I can't say this word. Emblemic, I'm not going to say it, right, of Odinism and or Norse mythology. This same prison guard had a public Facebook account and also displayed the same tattoos in addition to a necklace with Thor's hammer, inscribed with the letters BRSRCR, an acronym for Berserker, which is a very specific type of Norse battle axe, and the name given to warriors fighting in honor of Odin. Oh, dear God. So this dude loves his job so much that he's prepared, when told to take the patches off, he's prepared to go to a tattoo shop and have his face tattooed. His actual face tattooed. What the fuck? I'm laughing because it's just I'm actually furious. I'm furious. I'm furious. Are there any guards who are not Odinists there? Well, yeah, I'm presuming there is. However, they're probably not speaking up. Probably not speaking up. So, you know, when you say, oh, he's going berserk him, well, it comes from the berserker was the battle axe, and the Vikings who fought with the berserker battle axes became known by their enemies as berserkers, going berserk. Like they'd run into battle flinging this axe around, you know, like just behaving in a berserk manner. Other photos display 3 interlocking triangles, another symbol associated with Odinism. All right. Okay. So we'll see more about this in the affidavit. Mr. Allen stated that Westville guards were intimidating and reluctant to provide him with shower and recreational access because it caused them extra work. Oh, I remember the discussion that they had in the June 2023 hearing about the beauty of Westville, that it was much more appropriate to have him at Westville because they've got a basketball court. So, you know, Richard Allen could go and play basketball at Westville. Whereas in the county jails, no basketball courts in county jails. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, yeah, doesn't even get any recreation because it caused the guards extra work. And as a result, he's often simply remained in his cell, went without rec time or a shower to keep the peace. Yeah, exactly, Angie baby. Yeah, is he going to play basketball on his own? Yeah, well, he could, you know, practice his shots, practice his moves. I wouldn't really think Richard Allen is the type to play basketball. aren't basketball players are tall, aren't they? I can't imagine Richard Allen would be good at basketball unless he can jump really high. I mean, if he can jump really high, then yeah, he might be, but I don't know. Something tells me that the basketball court isn't something that Richard Allen is really too concerned about right now. Right. So 12/22/23, so 22nd of December, council visited Mr. Allen at Wabash. So this was after he was transferred. So all this went down at Westville. All right. So now he's at Wabash. So they visited him at Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. It gets worse. Where Mr. Allen had recently been moved without consulting counsel. No, who actually moved it? Do we have any documentation whatsoever? Because I've missed it. Who said he was going? Who granted the transfer? Whose job was it to transfer him to Wabash? I genuinely don't know why or who granted that transfer to Wabash. The round-trip drive and visit took over 10 hours. Access to the prison once again took nearly an hour, and several gates had to be manually cranked open as there was a power outage in the portion of the prison and doors could not be opened. Oh man, what if there was a fire? What if there was a fire? They'd all die. Guards and inmates. Jesus Christ. Prison staff indicated they did not have any type of visitation rooms for council to use because they were not equipped for such matters. So a state prison doesn't have any visitation rooms where attorneys can go and meet with their clients. Well, yeah, because state prisons are for convicted criminals. So there's less need for visitation rooms for attorneys and clients. There's less need for it than in the pre-trial system, because pre-trial, a defendant is going to be meeting with their attorneys. They should be meeting with them regularly to prepare their defense, to prepare for trial. So a good defense team would want to keep in regular contact with their client. And if there was any, legal matters that they wanted to discuss, they should be able to go and discuss them. There shouldn't be a massive palaver over a visit, because a pre-trial detainee is innocent, is legally innocent. So they have a right to meet with their attorneys as much as they want. As much as they want. They would still have to meet for appeals, yeah. Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's probably less need. But you're absolutely right that if there's somebody in Wabash who's appealing their sentence, where do they meet their attorneys? Like, there's no room, not one room, not one, 8 by 10 room set aside anywhere in that prison for a meeting. Come on now. So, because they didn't have a room, they fashioned a visitation room in some sort of prep kitchen. Now, at this point, I had to stop reading. And calm down, because I was like, it was so unbelievable to me. I didn't know whether to be mad. I didn't know whether to laugh. I was like, is this real? Is this actually real? But it is real. And this isn't Brad Rose and Andrew Baldwin speaking. This is Gulls Boys speaking. This is Screaming and Libretto speaking. Laughing so you don't cry. Yeah. I was laughing so I didn't throw my laptop through the window. I was that mad. All right. So they fashioned a visitation room in some sort of prep kitchen within the prison housing unit. Council were informed the visitation would be monitored by video camera. Okay, so they're now videoing him. So I thought they weren't allowed to video him. Or is that all null and void now? Because he's somewhere else. Counsel was taken to Mr. Allen, who was locked in a prison cell located within the kitchen. All right. Why do they have a prison cell in the kitchen? What's that about? Is it like inmates help preparing food? Because they do in the UK, right? So, you've got kitchen staff who are inmates. Is it if there's a fight breaks out that the guards can, throw one in the cell to make them calm down? I'm guessing that's why that's there. Otherwise, I can't imagine. I've never been in a prison kitchen. I've been in a prison. I've never been in a prison kitchen. So I don't know whether it's regular, like all prison kitchens have a cell. I don't know. I can't tell you. But all I can imagine, it's so that they can quickly, break up a fight and throw one of them in a cell so that everybody calms down. It's like when dogs fight and you just separate them. Like you just pull them apart. Well, you don't pull them apart. Don't pull dogs apart when they're fighting. Don't pull them apart because they rip each other to shreds. But anyway, you separate them. And then the one that's still being aggressive, you've got to contain them somehow so that they calm down. Right? I used to have 2 terriers, right? I used to dealing with dog fights. But that's what it sounded like to me, right? And I just can't with this. So Mr. Allen is in the cell in the kitchen. The cell appeared to be designed as a place to feed a prisoner, which confused me. But anyway, the cell had a solid iron door with a small hinged iron flap approximately 8 inches high that opened just far enough to slide a food tray through. The iron flap was left open, and it was through this small opening that we were allowed to see Mr. Allen and speak with him. How is counsel expected to prepare their client for trial, and how is their client able to partake in his own defence if he has to speak through an 8-inch hole that's normally used to put a food tray through? How is that even allowed? I just can't. A folding table was set up approximately 6 feet from the cell door, with 3 chairs on the far side of the table. We were instructed to sit in the chairs and not to approach Mr. Allen or come within 6 feet of the cell door. Why? What's he going to do? What's Richard Allen going to do? Is he really that dangerous and that much of a ninja that if they approach the cell door, that it will be able, like a cat, they can make themselves, squeeze into impossible contorted moves, is able to squeeze himself through an 8-inch gap for a food tray and attack them all? Is that what they're saying? Because how are they in danger by by approaching the cell door? Why do they have to stay 6 feet away? No, Rambling Rome. No, this is now at Wabash. This is the visit. This is the visit on 12/22/23. This is them visiting him at Wabash. This is not Westville. This is Wabash. Okay. So it's got worse. It's got worse. Okay. All right. So they're not allowed to go within 6 feet of the cell door. They've got to sit at the far side of a table and try to prepare their defense through an iron door with an 8-inch flap in it without being able to approach at all. How are they meant to share paperwork? How are they meant to, confer in a way that is human? How is this human? How are you treating him like a human? Oh, dear God. Right. Are there any human rights organizations in the US who can look at this? And what I would like to know, Flower of Scotland in with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. This Blissful Nescence, Mike, Rambling Rome, Samantha and Stella Knights, all gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Flower of Scotland. You are too kind. Just too kind. So you 5 guys, you get a month's free Michelle After Dark memberships courtesy of the Flower of Scotland. Might as well be in Russia. Yeah. It's like some kind of I don't know, movie where you they're set in the future in some distant galaxy and there's so much abuse going on. I mean, this cannot be 2023 as it was then in the United States. I would like to know anybody who has been in Wabash, who has served time in Wabash, and maybe who appealed their sentence or had a reason to meet with their attorneys. Is that the procedure? Is that always the procedure that an inmate has to go through in Wabash to meet with their attorneys? Or is there actually a visitation room? Because this isn't real. This isn't real. The arrangement made it impossible to show Mr. Allen any videos or documents or discuss the case with him without raising our voices and almost shouting. In 25 years of practicing law in 5 states, including representing numerous defendants charged with murder, I have never had to conduct an in custody legal consultation in this fashion. And I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that this isn't common practice. The prison's visitation arrangements created an environment wherein effectively representing Mr. Allen was a fiction. So basically saying their attorney's in name only. They can't represent him. This is it's unbelievable. It's a fiction. It is. It's not real. This is not real. It's a fiction. They are attorneys. They're representing him in name only because, however well-meaning they are, that they've taken this case on, for a favour to Francis maybe, but they're going to do their job, right? They're going to do their job. And this is worse. They're stating, wait till we get to the affidavit. They're stating in as strong terms as Baldwin and Rosie did. They're using emotive terminology, which Francis Gull didn't like when Rosie and Baldwin did it. But saying that representing Mr. Allen is a fiction is absolutely true, but it's the type of language that Francis doesn't like. But yet these are Francis's boys. So for them to come out and write something like this, the situation must be bad. Must be bad. Which begs the question, why is this still happening? Like, if he was transferred, surely they'd have made it easy for his attorneys to meet him so that it could have looked like Baldwin and Rosie were exaggerating or lying. But no. They've gone worse. They've gone worse. Unbelievable. Mr. Allen stated that in the 2 weeks he had been at Wabash, he had not received or even been offered any recreational time. So he's just been sat in his cell on his own. He believed he'd taken 1, possibly 2 showers, and he had not been allowed outside in the prison yard, although other inmates enjoyed outdoor recreation. That's, yeah, CW, I hope so, yeah. Gull will recuse herself now she's got more busy work to do with her senior judge position. Yeah, I hope so. It's made it easy for her to recuse herself. Okay, conclusion. In 25 years of practicing law, I have never had to conduct an in-custody legal visit in this manner. I have with Mr. Allen. I routinely conduct legal visits within the jails in Allen, Adams, Huntington, Randolph and Wells counties, including consultations with numerous clients charged with murder. There is never a guard present during the consultation. No, because of a thing called attorney-client privilege. They're allowed to speak with their attorney on their own and no one videos them. No one listens in. That's called attorney-client privilege. It's a thing in my country, just as it is in the US. And any breach of that, I'm sorry, that's very, very serious. That means that a defendant does not have a fair trial. If they cannot meet with their attorney privately, then preparing for trial in a fair and just manner cannot happen. Cannot happen. There's never a guard present. There is never audio or video equipment recording the visit. Exactly. My clients are never shackled, handcuffed, or chained during these visits. These are clearly state prison policies, not county jail policies. I bet they're not even state prison policies. I bet they're not. I am often able to simply sit at a table with my client and have a conversation. But at the very least, I'm able to sit directly across from my client and speak through a large plexiglass partition where we can view videos and documents. County jails routinely, dare I say daily, have lawyers visiting pre-trial detainees, and as such, county jails have rooms specifically designed for attorney visits. Exactly. County jails also have a streamlined access protocol for defense attorneys that often takes no more than a minute or two as opposed to an hour. Laptops, phones and tablets are routinely allowed during attorney visits with no special requests. Yes, because the person that they're visiting is innocent. They're detained, but they are legally innocent and they have the right to prepare for a fair trial with an attorney under privileged conditions, i.e. not overlooked, not videoed, not recorded, in a room where they can both speak as human beings, where the defendant can take part in their own defense and prepare for trial. Is this happening in this case? No, of course it isn't. And you've got to ask the question, why? Why? County jail visits with clients can even be set up on the same day. Yeah, they can meet with a client as often as they want. They could go every day if they wanted, because that person is innocent. Clients in county jails are extremely accessible, and multiple visits can be quickly and effectively made when legal issues arise. Based upon counsel's observation and experience, Mr. Allen is not being treated similar to other pre-trial detainees being held in county jails. However, even if this court were to find that Mr. Allen's pre-trial treatment within the state prison system does not in itself justify moving him to a county jail, evidence is absolutely overwhelming that pre-trial detainment at Wabash Valley Correctional Facility will seriously, if not fatally, impact counsel's ability to effectively represent Mr. Allen due to the sheer distance of travel and the unworkable visitation conditions. So they're basically saying we can't represent him. We can't represent him under these conditions. We can't do it. Can't do it. Counsel for Mr. Allen respectfully requests that he be transferred to either the Allen County Jail or the Adams County Jail. And that's written by Robert Scremin. 25 years of legal experience, numerous murder defendants that he's represented, and he's never experienced a situation like this. It does. It does. All this BS makes the organism look more guilty. Yeah, it does. It so does. And it gets worse. Okay. All right. This is an affidavit. So this is an investigator who works with Robert Scremin. Okay. So we're going back to Westville. All right, going back to Westville. 11/19/23. So this is shortly after Robert Scremin and William Labrator were assigned to Richard Allen. All right, they went to visit Richard Allen in Westville, and this person, this investigator, went along with them. Okay. So on 11/19/23, I accompanied attorneys Robert Scremin and William Labrator to the Westville Correctional Facility to meet with Richard Allen. After arrival at the facility, it took approximately an hour to clear security and reach Mr. Allen, which included riding in a shuttle van to an interior wing of the prison. Interesting. We met with Mr. Allen in a room lined with windows where prison guards could plainly observe the confidential consultation. The door from the room was left ajar and could not be closed, as the door's deadbolt was left protruding from the door, preventing it from closing. So they could listen. They could listen at the door. Prison guards remained posted just outside the door, where they could look through the windows. Mr. Allen appeared apprehensive to speak freely with attorneys Scremin and Labrator. Richard Allen was brought to the room wearing ankle shackles, handcuffs, and a wide leather belt fitted with metal O-rings. The ankle shackles and handcuffs were both secured to the waist by short chains, which restricted Mr. Allen's every move and gave him the appearance of Hannibal Lecter. So this person knows how to spell Hannibal. His hands were cuffed together such that... Now this is bizarre. I couldn't work this out. The back of his hands were together with one palm facing down and one palm facing up. Okay, all right. I'm going to so like that, I think, like that. So together with the backs of the hands, so one's palm down, one's palm up. I think that's what it looks like. That's what I'm taking from it. Okay. Mr. Allen appeared visibly uncomfortable, with his arms twisted at the elbows, such that the backs of his hands could be secured facing each other in the handcuffs. Why would you handcuff someone like that? So he's got ankle shackles, his arms and his legs are tied to his waist. Why does he need his hands in handcuffs like that? What? Who does that? Mr. Allen remained shackled and chained in this fashion for the entire visit. One of the prison guards who stood outside the door, later identified as Sergeant Randy Jones, so he's one of the guys, along with Robinson, who were wearing the Odin patches, displayed a face tattoo of Odin's spear under his right eye and numerous tattoos on his arms, hands, and fingers that resembled Nordic and or Odinist symbols. Thank you, Christine. Thank you for the £10. Thank you so much. You're very kind. You're very kind. Bullies do that. They do. Bullies do that. You see, this is good. I later located a Facebook profile for Randy Jones, including a photo of Sergeant Jones with the same face tattoo of Odin's spear and wearing a necklace with the Thor's hammer charm and another symbol associated with Odinism. The hammer necklace worn by Sergeant Jones was inscribed with, we've already talked about berserkers. Berserker is a type of Nordic battle axe and term described. Okay, so we know about that. Other photos displayed 3 interlocking triangles, so we know that. Researchers revealed that Odinism has been linked to white supremacy in the prison system. Symbols and rituals associated with Odinism also appear to be present in crime scene photos taken in the present case. So they're agreeing with the law enforcement officers who originally investigated the Odinists, all present there in the discovery, with Baldwin and Rosie. So now his new defense team also agree that the symbols and rituals associated with Odinism appeared to them that they were present in the crime scene photos. Mr. Allen stated he was once shot with a taser through a closed and locked prison cell door. Why? Why would you tase someone through a closed door? Why? Mr. Allen stated that when it was time for him to take a shower or have recreation time, the guards would ask him if he wanted a shower or recreation, but that they would slowly shake their head from side to side, indicating that his response should be no, because it was an inconvenience for the guards to assist with these basic amenities. This is Sergeant Randy Jones. This is taken from his Facebook. So because he couldn't wear Odin patches on his uniform, he went and had a face tattoo. You can see that's a recent tattoo. Okay, so he's had that Odin symbol tattooed on his face. All right, takes his job very seriously. This is Sergeant Randy Jones. This is the bully who is torturing, or at least was torturing, Richard Allen. Randy Jones, you can sue me if you want. I think you are a bully and a torturer. Sue me. I'd love you to sue me. Love you to sue me. So this is Randy Jones here. This is his Facebook profile. Okay, so I've got a picture of an axe here. A berserker axe. All right. Okay. Got any writing on this? No. Okay. All right. Final page. Okay. So although, have I missed a page here? Have we missed a page here? I couldn't find a PDF of this. This affidavit. I think there's a page missing from this. So it goes from 9 to 16. Hold on, let me see if I can find a better. So there's a page missing in that. Hold on. So that's the motion to transfer. See, there's a lot of people sharing the motion to transfer, but not sharing the affidavit. And the affidavit's the one that's has got some really interesting details in it. Hold on. Motion to transfer. So this is the full. I know it's not sharing at the moment, but I'm just. November 9th, November 16th. I've only got it as well. Oh, it's annoying. That is annoying. Gold sealed the affidavit. Yeah, I can't find it. I can't find it, but somebody must have grabbed it. Somebody must have grabbed it and got the full one. Because the copy on Delphi docs is got a page missing. Like the motion to transfer, like loads of people have shared that. Okay, so Defense Diaries shared this on Twitter. So that's page 1. We've read that. That's page 2. Oh, yeah, they got it. Hey, good on Defense Diaries. Okay, all right. Save that page. Okay, all right. We're good. We're up and running. We're up and running. All right. So, the version that's on Delphi docs, just for anybody going back later, it's missing a page. But okay, all right. On 12/22/23, I accompanied attorneys Scremin and Labrato to Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, where Mr. Allen had recently been moved. The round-trip drive visit took over 10 hours. Once at the facility, it took approximately an hour to get to Mr. Allen. Prison staff indicated they did not have any type of visitation rooms for attorneys to use because they were not equipped for such matters, but had fashioned a visitation room in some sort of pre-kitchen within the prison housing unit. Were informed by prison staff that there was video cameras recording the visit. We were taken to Mr. Allen, who was secured in a prison cell located within the kitchen area. The cell appeared to be designed to feed a prisoner. The cell had a solid iron door with a small hinged iron flap approximately 8 inches high, open just far enough to slide a food tray through. This iron flap was left open, and it was through this small opening that we were allowed to see Mr. Allen and speak with him. A folding table was set up approximately 6 feet from the cell door with 3 chairs on the far side. We were instructed to sit in the chairs and not come within 6 feet of the cell door. This setup made it impossible to show Mr. Allen any videos or discussing documents. So that's the same as what Scremin said. Mr. Allen confirmed that he'd recently spoken with attorney Cara Wernicke by telephone concerning the upcoming Supreme Court hearing. Mr. Allen appeared confused about his legal representation and was hesitant to share information about his case with attorneys Scremin and Labrato, suggesting that he was waiting for the result of the January 18th, 2024 oral argument. I have also recently spoken with Mr. Allen's wife, who similarly was hesitant to provide any information until after the hearing. So it's very clear that Richard Allen does not want these guys, even if these guys in good faith are prepared to represent him. And to me, just my opinion, it sounds like they're not prepared to represent him under the current situation, under the current conditions. They're saying that they've presented this, saying they're not able to represent him. They don't want to represent him under these conditions. Mr. Allen stated that since arriving at Wabash Valley Correctional Facility, he has been kept in solitary confinement and has not had any rec time. He's not been allowed outside and he has no window. Can you imagine how insane that must drive him? So you sat in a cell with no window 24 hours a day. How can that be allowed to happen in this day and age? Although he had been there nearly 2 weeks, he believed he'd taken 1, perhaps 2 showers. He appeared disoriented to date or time. I'm not surprised. Like, he won't even know whether it's day or night, will he? He has no concept of time. Prison officials confirmed that Mr. Allen had not been taken outside for rec time, claiming it was a safety issue for suicide watch. Come on now. We all know that people who are depressed, what's one of the natural things that lifts people's mood? Exercise and fresh air. Two basics. Oh, man. Mr. Allen expressed concern he was receiving medications and that he was unsure what he was being given or why, as he had not recently seen a physician. So they're drugging him. He also stated that whatever medication he receives, he does not always get the same type, number, or size or colour of pills. So they're drugging him. They're keeping him 24 hours a day in a room with no windows, no opportunity for exercise, doesn't know what time of day or night it is, doesn't know what day it is, sitting there in his own filth, and they're drugging him. And this isn't pills that has been prescribed by a physician, because he hasn't seen one. They're trying to kill him. They are. They're trying to kill him. They're trying to kill him. How is it allowed? I don't know, Jackie. I don't know. That's why I was so mad last night. I can't deal with it. This is just wrong. I can't. I don't have words. I can't describe how shocking it is that this is happening. It's just, I've no words. I have literally no words to describe how bad that is. And the fact, I think, this is just my opinion, I think that if Baldwin and Rosie don't get reappointed on Thursday or after Thursday, because remember, the 18th, so we're only like 5 days away now. Supreme Court hearing the oral motions on Thursday. If it doesn't go Baldwin and Rosie's way, I seriously think these guys might recuse themselves. Because just the way that Scremin has worded, it just can't, he just can't represent him. It's just fatally flawed, the whole thing. He just can't represent him. And even if they were, with the best will in the world, even if they really, really, really wanted to do the job, they can't do the job. They can't do the job under the current circumstances. So I think at least Scremin, I think we know, that motion was written by Scremin, and then his investigator, that's Scremin's investigator. So I think we know that, like, coming from his office, I think at least Scremin, I think there's a good chance he'll recuse himself if it doesn't go Baldwin and Rosie's way. because they can't do their job. They just can't do their job. So we're waiting for Thursday, and Alan doesn't want them. Richard Allen doesn't want them. Kathy Allen doesn't want them, for what it's worth. Right, it's Richard Allen's choice. He's confused. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what's going on. So Richard's going to be sat in that cell for 24 hours a day, and his fate's going to be decided for him. He has no chance of defending himself under the current circumstances. He has no chance of defending himself. And his constitutional rights have just been trampled over. Absolutely trampled over. So, yeah, that's the situation. That's the situation as it stands. He's gone from the frying pan and the ordinary guards into the fire. It is good that the old and new defence are on the same page. It is good, yeah. It is good. So we've just got to keep watching and hoping that the Supreme Court are going to get rid of Judge Gull and, at the very least, get rid of Judge Gull. At the very least, get rid of Judge Gull. And hopefully, with a new judge, he can be moved to a county jail. And then whoever his attorneys are, it seems that, you know, if Libretto and Scremin stay on, if Rosie and Baldwin are not allowed to rejoin the fray, at least he's got a defence who are taking the Odin angle seriously. And it looks like, just by the wording of this motion here, that they are going to take the Odin theory very seriously and potentially use that same theory as the basis of their defence. So, I mean, best case scenario is that new judge, Baldwin and Rosie, back on the team, and a trial within 70 days. But we're going to have to wait and see. All right, guys. That's it. That's it. So, thanks for joining me. I've got some stuff to do this afternoon, so I'm going to go. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Thank you for the donations. Welcome to the new members. And thanks, as always, to the mods. And we're going to play out with this. Bye, guys.
For you guys to start being journalists.
Before an angry Andrew Baldwin left the courthouse, 13 News overheard him speaking to Richard Allen's wife, saying, "It ain't over. The world's watching. The world sees what's going on."